नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter number 21, beginning from verse number 25. So we are reading the dynasty of King Bharat. His son was Vitat. He had 5 sons and their dynasty is being described. So we are reading about Nipa. So he says in the previous verse that Nipa had 100 sons. Now he says Sakritvayam Sukanyayam Brahmadattam Ajijanat Sayogi Gavi Bharyayam Viswakshenam Adhat Sutam. So Nipa had married Kritvi, who was the daughter of Sukdev. And from her he got a son named Brahmadatta, and Brahmadatta was a great yogi, but he also had a wife named Go, and from her he got a son called Vishwasen. So about Sukha there is a description here. Jiva Goswami of course gives a very long quotation from Brahma Bhavat Puran. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti, he summarizes it. He says, Saeva Nipa Punarapi Kritvi Sangyayam Sukkanyamiti. So although Nipa was already married and he had 100 sons, but he had another wife called Kritvi, who was daughter of Shuka. Sukoyam Vyashadaranyam Sambhuto Anyayev. So he says this Shuka is another Shuka, not the one who is speaking Bhagavatam, who is describing it. And this was born from Vyasdev in forest. Taduktam Harivanshadisu. So this is described in Harivansha. Parashara Kulotpanna Shuko Nam Mahayasha Vyasadaranyam Sambhuto Vidhumo Agni Riva Jwalan. So in the dynasty of Parashara, father of Vyasa, Sukdev was born, who was greatly famous, Mahayasha, and he was born in the Arani. Aranyam actually is not forest, it is in Arani. Arani is the wood which is used for doing the yagya. And he came out from that just like the fire comes out from the Arni wood. So to create fire they use Arni, bottom piece, top piece, and another one to churn it, and then fire comes out. So Sukdev was born like fire coming from the Arni wood. Therefore it says Vidhumo Agni Riva, fire without smoke. Jwalan, shining. Satashyam Pitri Kanyayam Virinyam Janishyati Krishnam Gauram Prabhu Shambhum Tatha Bhuri Sutam Jayam Kanyam Kirti Matim Shashtim Yoginim Yoga Mataram Brahmadatta Sajanmi Mahishi Manuhasyacha. So he says that he is Shukdev in the daughter of Pitri, known as Virini, will give birth to 6 sons, or 5 sons and 1 daughter. So these 5 sons are Krishna, Gaura, Prabhu, Shambhu and Bhuri. And the Kanyam Kirtimati Sashtim Yoginim Yogimatram. The 6th one is Kirtimati. So this Kirtimati is what is called here as Kritvi in Bhagavatam. And she was a yogini herself and also the mother of a yogi, Yogamataram, because she gave birth to Brahmadatta. Is described here also as yogi. So therefore Kirtimati is called as Yogamataram. And Brahmadatta Janani, the mother of Brahmadatta, and Mahishim Manu Hasyacha, and he is the Mahishi of Anuhasya. I don't know what is Anuhasya. So he says, Sri Bhagavat Vakta Shukastu Vyasasya Prathama Putro Arani Sambhutad Anya. That the speaker of Bhagavatam, who is also called Shukdev, is another son, different from the one who was born from Arani. So sometimes in the West I see that the father has the same name, the son also has the same name. Father's name is William, son is also William. Josika's sister's son is like that, and the husband, both are William. So I said, how do they make the difference? So I said, the father they call as Will and the son is called Willie. That is the difference, but name is same. So here he got two sons, both are same name, Shukdev. So Shukdev Junior, Shukdev Senior. Or one is Shukdev Arani, born from Arani. Yaduktam Brahma Vaivarte. So this is stated in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Prapte Kali Yuge Vyasas Chakre Yo Jagtah Kritam Ma Bhagavatam. So he says when Kali Yuga will come, then Vyasa he made Mahabhagavat for the benefit of the world. So Brahmacharya परिभ्रंसे मातृ वाक्याद उपस्थिते स्वयं पितृ ऋणालानम दीपवत सौढ़मक्षमा विचिन्त्य मनसा चक्रे भार्यां जावाली कन्यकां वीटिकाख्यां ददौ तस्मै सोपि वैखानस आश्रम. So Vyasadeva was a brahmachari. He was, to begin with, was not married because he was born from Parashara and Satyavati. And then after birth, he grew up immediately and went to the Himalayas. And he told Satyavati, if you ever need me, just think of me and I will come. So when Satyavati's two sons, they were dead, one in a war, another because of the disease. So there was no one to continue the dynasty. Bhishma has taken a vow of not to marry. So then she called Vyasa, that you produce children, this Ambika and Ambalika. That's how Pandu and Dhritarashtra were born, and Vidura from the Dasi. So now he says here in Brahmavart Purana that Brahmacharya Paribhranse. So now Vyasa lost his Brahmacharya. He is no more Brahmachari. So he thought, now I should marry. Because I was Brahmachari, but now my Brahmacharya Vrat is gone. So I cannot call myself as a Brahmachari. So that's when he decided to marry.
I've read definitions also where brahmacharya is included for the purpose of creating children, still considered brahmacharya. Are there different levels of brahmacharya, or is that just a speculation?
Well, speculation means just like somebody is living in the family life but very renounced or religious, so he is like a sannyasi. It's not attached. So that does not mean that he is sannyasi as we know of a sannyasi ashram. So a grahastha or married person is considered equal to brahmachari if he unites with his wife only for procreation. But that does not mean that he is brahmachari as an ashram. His ashram is still grahastha. So that's what he said. And then he also said that Pitri Rinalanam Dipavat Sroduma Akshama. So he said that he also had the Pitri Rin, right? Rishi Rin, Pitri Rin, Dev Rin, Nir Rin, Bhut Rin, all these Rinas. So therefore he decided to get married. So Vichintya Mansa Chakre Bharyam Jabal. So when he thought like this, then he married the Chakre Bharyam. He accepted wife who was the daughter of sage Jabali, and her name is called Vitika. So sometimes people ask who was the wife of Vyasadeva. So his wife's name is Vitika, who was the daughter of sage Jabali, and Sopi Vakhanas Ashrami. And this Jabali was also in Vakhanas ashram. Tatasya Vyasastaya saha bahukalam tapastepe. So then Vyasa, he performed tapasya for a long time along with her. Tadante tasyam viryam adhatte. And then he impregnated her. Sacha Garbhavati, she became pregnant, and Ekadashu Varsheshu Vyatiteshu api na prasutesme. And then for 11 years she remained pregnant, but did not give birth. That's quite hellish. अथ द्वादशे वर्षे व्यासः कदाचित् गर्भस्थ पुत्रमाह. So then when it was 12th year, then one day Vyasa, he spoke to the baby in the womb. He said, Bhoputra, kim swamataram pridayasi garbhat nisara. Says, my dear son, why are you giving trouble to your mom? Why don't you come out? Sacha Ahai, he also spoke. He was ready to speak, he knew the language, everything. He understood his words also, without being taught. Right? The child is born, does not speak, does not pronounce anything, the tongue does not, articulate words, takes time. And then also he has to be taught. So he Sukdev already knew and he could speak from inside also. So he said as follows, Garbhat nishritam maya mam abhibhavishyati. Says if I come out from here, then Maya will catch me. I will be overpowered by Maya. And that's what I don't want. तस्माद् अत्रैव भगवन्तं ध्यायामि. इसलिए therefore I am just meditating on Bhagwan here. So it's quite a nice place, not too hot, not too cold, perfect temperature, no problem of food, no problem of going to toilet, etc. No mosquitoes, flies, anything. So it's a very safe place. So I don't want to come out. Why shall I? See, if you tell this to people, they will laugh now. Vyasaha maya na tvam abhibhavishyati. So Vyasa said, you come out, Maya will not catch you. I give you the word. So he didn't trust his father. Madvachanam eva pramanikritya garbhat nisara. He says, take my words as an authority and come out. Swamukham mam darshaya. Let me see your face. Mat patnim mam pridaya. And don't give trouble to my wife. Saha, he said, Patni putradi asaktatvena tvamapi maya abhibhutam janami. Atas tvadvachanam ne pramani karami. He says, you fellow, You are attached to your wife and you are attached to your son. So you are already under the influence of Maya. And you are saying that I should trust you, that I will not be caught by Maya. Right? So he says, how is it? He says, you are saying that don't give trouble to my wife. That means you are very much attached to his wife. And you also want to see my face, so you are also attached to me. So this is Maya. Therefore, no way, I don't trust you. So how did Vyasa feel when his own son is not trusting him? He's writing books that others should trust him, but one in his own home is not trusting. Right? It happens many times like this. People who are very famous and have a lot of followers, right? Everybody, when they come out, everybody is bowing down to them, but in the house, the wife is asking them to do sit-ups. Right? And they're scared of the wife. And children don't listen. Right? Mahatma Gandhi, everybody called him Mahatma Gandhi. His own son became a Muslim. He didn't care. So he says, no, your word is not authority. Vyasa tari kasya vakyam pramani kurushe. So Vyasa was shocked to hear this. So then he asked, okay, you don't trust me, but is there anybody whom you trust, whose word you will accept as an authority? Saha yasya maya. He says, yes, I trust the guy to whom the maya belongs. That is the person I can trust. Vyasa tarhi tamatraiva anayami. So Vyasa said, oh, that I know. Krishna says, Mama Maya. He says, in Bhagavad Gita I wrote that it is Krishna's Maya. So he says, I'll bring him here. So saying this, he went to Dwarka. At that time Krishna was in Dwarka. He has already spoken Bhagavad Gita. So Vyasa knew that Maya is Krishna's. So then he has to go to Dwarka. So he arrived there. Nirvedit sarvritantam bhagavantam. Then he asked Krishna that this is the situation. My wife is pregnant. Please help. My son does not want to come out unless you assure him that he will not be caught by your Maya. So Krishna smiled. He thought, I also have some value. So, Swaparnsalabhyam antaramaniya Vyasa punaraha. So then he brought him in his hut, and then he again now spoke to the son. He said, Bhauputra, ayato ayam Bhagavan iti. He says, look, Bhagavan has come. So Sukdev thought that he has found a solution not to come out. But after all, the father is father, son is son. Right? He was trying to trick his father, I don't trust you. So he says, whom do you trust? He says, whose Maya it is? He thought he will not know whose Maya it is in any way. From where will he find him? So he brought him there. Tata saha. So then he spoke. Tvam bruhi madhava jagan nigadopama samaya akhilasya na vilangya tama tvadiya badhnati mamna yadi garbham imam vihaya yasyami samprati bahi pratibhustamatra. So the boy, he did not just come out like this unless Krishna gives him the word. He says, oh Madhava, you please say that Jagan Nigado Upama Samaya. This Maya is like the shackles, like they put shackles on the feet of prisoners and also in the handcuffs in the hand. He says it's like a nigada. So nigada upama sa maya akhilasya na vilanghetama tvadiya. He says that no one can actually cross it over. And this maya belongs to you. Badhnati mam nayadi garbham imam vihaya. So if I come out and if this maya will not put the shackles on me, then I can come out. It says inside maya cannot come because there is no place to put the shackle. It's so tight. But when I come out, then maya will be standing there with the shackles. So now if you can give me the word, then I can come out. So pratibhu tvamatra. So pratibhu is what we call guarantee in English, or warranty. So if you warranty or guarantee, what is the difference? So if you give me the guarantee that maya will not catch me, then I come out. So Bhagavana, then Sri Krishna, he spoke like this. Man maya ne bhavita tav samprayogo gantasi mokshamudhaneva mama prasadat. So he says, my dear boy, you come out and my maya will not touch you. I guarantee this to you. And I liberated you now itself. So you are free from maya. So therefore he became Jivan Mukta before even taking birth. He says, by my prasad, by my grace, you are already liberated. Tato garbha nishritya pranamya bahustuva anantam drishtva bhagavanaha. So then he came out and he bowed down to Krishna and he recited many prayers to him. Stuvan anantam drishtva bhagavanaha. So,
Babaji,
yes,
what is the meaning of samprayog here?
contact.
Contact. What's the contact?
So drishtva bhagavanaha, then Bhagavan Krishna told him, Vyasa tvadiya tanaya sukvan manogyam brute vacho bhavtu tachuka evanam. So it is Krishna who gave him the name Shuka. He says that your son, he speaks words beautiful like a parrot. Therefore he will be called parrot. So that's how he got the name Shuka. Iti vyasam amantrya ratham aruhya dwarkam pratasthe. So then taking permission from Vyasdev and riding on the chariot, he left for Dwarka. So Krishna left because he has no other work there. And then when Krishna left, Sukdev also left because he had no maya. So he had no attachment. So therefore it says, Shuko api prabhavraj. So he also left for forest. And Vyasastam anujagamiti. And then Vyasdev, he was following. So this is what is described in the very beginning. Yanupetam anupetam anupetam upeta krityam Vyaso putra iti tanmayata kataro vijaha. Putra iti tanmayata nuvo tarvo bhinedu tam sarvabhuta hridayam muni manata asmi. So then Vyasa was following him, my son, my son. And Sukadeva has already said that you are also under the influence of Maya. Right? This is what he was saying. That you are attached to your son. He did not say you are attached to me. He said you are attached to your son and you are to your wife. How can I trust you? So this is the story of Sukadeva. So this was a different. Now the other one is different. It says Sri Swami Charanastu Arni Sambhuta Shukaiva Virahaturam Pitram Anuvrajantam Alakshya Chaya Shukam Nirmaya Papravraja. So this is one story which is from Brahma Vaivarta Purana, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is actually just summarizing what Jiva Goswami has cited. Probably even Vishwanath Chakravarti did not have this Brahma Vaivarta with him. So Sridhar Swami, he gives the story, the other one, the Arani. That how Sukadeva, and this Arani story I think is in Mahabharata if I am not wrong. That how Sukadeva was born, because the Sukadeva which is described there in Mahabharata is different than the Sukadeva of Bhagavatam. That Sukadeva got married. So it is said that this Sukadeva which was born from Arani, then after birth he also left, and then father was crying for him, son. So he created a shadow Sukadeva, just a copy, cloning. So he cloned another one and he gave it to him, to Vyasa. He said, you keep this and I am going. So that is the Sukadeva who got married and who had the daughter, that Kritmati or Kritvi, two different names. So this is what is described. Chaya Sukasyeva Garaste Vyavahara Ityaho. So it is the shadow Sukadeva. So shadow Sukadeva was not shadow. Just like these days in India at least they call as shadow. I don't know in the West if they use this word, but in India shadow is called the personal bodyguard. So big ministers, they have their shadow. So they are security people, but because they are behind them like their shadow, they actually called shadow. So this shadow is not shadow actually, but is a person. So therefore shadow Sukadeva is not just a shadow of Sukadeva, but is actually another Sukadeva in flesh and blood. He also bones. So he is the one who got married. And that is the one which is being described here. So Sa Brahmadatta Gavi Saraswatyam. So he had a son whose name was Brahmadatta from the daughter of Sukadeva. And Brahmadatta, he produced son called Visvakshena in Gavi. Gavi here he says means Saraswati. Gavi is of course the word go, but it seems it means somebody named Saraswati. So Jagishavya Upadeshena Yoga Tantram Chakare. And this Visvakshena, he wrote a book on yoga. He was also a great yogi and he was a disciple of Jagishavya. Jagishavya was a very great yogi. He is named both in yoga tradition as well as in the Sankhya. And he is the one who remembered his lifetime of one kalpa. One kalpa means one day of Brahma. So he remembered all his births from one day of Brahma. So you can imagine how many lifetimes he remembered. And after remembering, he came to the conclusion that in all these lives there was no happiness. So this, the Yoga Sutra in the second chapter of the first pada, or rather there is no first chapter but the second chapter, which is called Sadhana Pada, which says that Sarvam Dukhameva Vivekina. So, what is it? Tap Sanskar Gunai. The last part is Sarvam Dukhameva Vivekina. So in the commentary of that sutra, the commentators, they say that it is based on the experience of Jagishavya, who said it. This Viveki who is mentioned here is Jagishavya. So Krishna also says a similar thing in 11th canto, that for learned person there is no na dehinam sukham kichit vidyate vidushamapi tatha cha dukkham mudhanam vritham karnapana. He says those who have embodied beings, dehinam, there is no happiness. Vritha ahankaranam param, it's just ahankar that I am happy. So this is the story of Sukadev's daughter, then Jagishavya, then Udakswan tatastasmat bhallado bahar dishava. So then from there, him came Udakswan, and from him came Bhallada, also called Bahari Dashava. So Saeva Yoga Tantram Chakara ime Bahari Dashava Brihideshwar Vanshya Dirghatva Marsam. So these are all who came in the dynasty of Brihadeshu, who came earlier. Yavinaro dvimudhasya midhasya kritimans tat sutasmrita namna satyadhritiryasya dridhanemi suparshvakrit. And then we have Dimud, Dvimid. Remember there was Ajamid, Dvimid and Purumid. These were the three sons of Hasti. Hasti had three sons who made Hastinapur. So Dvimid's son's name was Yavinar. Yavinar's son's was Kritiman. Kritiman's son's name was Satyadhriti. Satyadhriti's son's name was Dridhanemi. And Dridhanemi's son's name was Suparshva. So Yavinaro Dimudhasya Kritimas Tat Sutasmrita Namna Satyadhritiryasya Dridhanemi Suparshva. Suparshvat Sumatistasya Putra Sannati Manstatah Kriti Hiranya Navadyo Yogam Prapya Jagau Smashat. And then from Suparsva came Sumati, and from Sumati came Sannatiman, and Sannatiman gave birth to Kritika, and he got the knowledge of yoga from Hiranyanav, and he spoke these 6 samhitas. Yogam Prapya Jagosme Shat Samhita Prachya Samnam Vai. So there are some 6 samhitas by the name of Prachya Swam. So he spoke them. Nipo hi Ugrayudhastata, and from him came the son named Nipa. Nipa's son was Ugrayudha, and Tasya Kshemya, his son's name was Kshemya, and his son's name was Suvira. Suviro atha Suvirasya Ripunjaya, and Suvira had the son Ripunjaya. Tato Bahuratho Nama Purumidho Aprajo Bhavat, and then his son's name was Bahuratha. So then Dvimud's son, other brother's name was Purumidha. So he says that Purumidha did not have any sons. And then comes Ajamidha. So Nalinyam Ajmidhasya Nila Shanti Sutastata. Ajmidha's wife's name was Nalini, and she gave birth to Nila. And Nila gave birth to Shanti. And Shanto Shushantis Tata Putra. Shanta's son's name was Shushanti, and from there came Puruja. And Puruja Arkas Tata Bhavat. From Puruja came Arka. Bharmyashva Stanayastasya Panchasan Mudgalade. And his son's name was Bharmyashva. And Bharmashya has 5 sons. Panch Asan Mudgalade, beginning with the Mudgala. So, Yavinaro Brihadishu Kampilya Sanjaya Sutta. So he had 5 sons named Mudgal, Yavinar, Brihadishu, Kampilya and Sanjay. So Mudgal is famous. There are also Brahmanas called Mudgal Gotra. You have heard Mudgal? मुदगल नहीं सुना था उन्हें कभी? नहीं, मुदगल होता है. So you still have Mudgal. So they are coming from this. So Bharmasva had these 5 sons, and these 5 sons, he said, are very powerful. So he said like this about his 5 sons, that Bharmyasva prahe putra me pancha naam rakshanahi. He says, these 5 sons, they are capable of protecting the kingdom, and therefore they became Panchalas. So Vishyanam alam ime iti Panchala Sangita Mudgalad Brahma Nivrittam Gotram Madgalya Sangita. So these 5 then became known as Panchala, and Draupadi is called Panchali, right? Because Drupada came in this dynasty. So that land came to be known as Panchala. Somewhere near Ganga, exactly which part? Maybe, I don't know, Punjab is Panchala. And then he says that from Mudgal, Madgalya, Brahmanas appeared. So this is what I was saying, that these Mudgal Brahmanas, they are still there in India. I am surprised that you have never heard anybody with Mudgal Gotra. Then Mithunam Mudgalad Bharmyad Divodasa Pumana Bhut. So then from Mudgal came 2 sons, twins. Their name was Divodas, Ahalya Kannaka. One boy, Divodas, and other was known as Ahalya. Divodas also is famous. I think Divodas was the king of Kasi, if I am not wrong. And this Ahalya, I think everybody knows Ahalya. Who is Ahalya? She was the wife of Gautam Rishi, who turned into stone, and then Lord Ramachandra touched her and she came back to normal human being. So this is that Ahalya. Ahalya Kannakayasyam Satanandastu Gautamat. So Ahalya was married to Gautama, and from there came the son Shatananda. And Tasya Satyadhriti Putra, the son of Satananda was Satyadhriti, Dhanurveda Visharada. And he was very expert in Dhanurveda, the art of shooting arrows. And Sharadvans Tatshruto Yasmad Urvasi Darshanat Kila. And his Satyadhriti's son's name was Sharadvan. And he was also good in art of fighting. And from Sharadvan were born Kripa and Kripi, this Kripacharya and Kripi, who was married to Dronacharya later on. So now the plot is coming more familiar. They are coming to Krishna's story gradually. So this Kripa and Kripi, they were born from Sharadvan, because Sharadvan once in the forest he saw Urvashi and he passed semen and it fell on the one type of grass which is called Sarat. That's why his name is Sharadvan. And from that one boy and one girl were born, and Sharadvan left. And then Shantanu picked them up and he brought them home. And because they were brought up by his grace, Kripa, therefore he named them as Kripa and Kripi. So Kamala has a cow called Kripi. And then when Dronacharya came to teach, he was appointed by Bhishma. When Dronacharya, this Kripi was already married to Dronacharya. Kripi was married to Dronacharya, and when Dronacharya was insulted by Drupada, then he was very upset, and then he came here to the Kauravas. Because Kripacharya was already the teacher for the Kauravas. Before Dronacharya came, Kripacharya was already teaching them. But Bhishma wanted Dronacharya because Dronacharya was more expert. So Dronacharya, then when he was insulted by Drupada, when he went to beg for a cow, then he came and joined Kripacharya, and then Bhishma appointed him as the guru for the Kauravas and Pandavas. So that's why he became. So then Kripacharya and Dronacharya both are the teachers. So Dronacharya was killed, Kripacharya is still alive. So he will come in the Satyuga. Kripacharya and Ashwatthama, Dronacharya's son. Dronacharya's son and Dronacharya's brother-in-law both are alive, living in the Himalayas. So they will come down in Satyuga, and there is a king Prateep who was brother of Shantanu. He is also living there. So he will also come down. And this moon dynasty will start from them. So this is what is described. Sarastambe apatad reto muthanam tadabhut. So his semen fell on the Sharat Stamba type of grass, and a twin was born from that. Tadrishtva kripyagrahan Chantanur mrigyavacharan. When Shantanu came to forest for hunting, he saw these twins and he took them. So Kripa Kumara Kanyacha Drona Patnya Bhavat Kripi. So the boy he named as Kripa and the girl was named as Kripi, and she became the wife of Dronacharya. So this is the end of this chapter. There is no commentary on this. So if any question on this, otherwise we stop here for today. Tomorrow we'll begin chapter 22. It's also just list of names.
Babaji, one question was there that, like we say that these three people, like Kripacharya, Ashwatthama, and one more, I'm not getting the name. These three are Chiranjeevi. So, and they are alive. So I want to say, like alive means they are on some other planet.
No, they are on this planet only.
But then, like whatever be the times, like whatever AD or BC, we never come to know of them. We never heard of them. So is it just a belief or is it factual?
Well, you can also have belief in fact. Is it possible that you can believe something which is true? Yes?
Yes, it is possible. But then they would be seen by someone. I mean to say,
No, they are not visible to your eyes. They are not visible now to human eyes. So you won't see them. Only yogis can see them. Have you heard of Madame Blavatsky?
who? I'm not.
Madame Blavatsky. No?
I have not heard of her. She
Yeah.
is
Have you heard of
scientist?
Have you heard of Theosophical Society?
Yes. I have heard of.
So she is the founder of that. She was from Russia originally, but then she moved to New York, and from there she came to Chennai.
Okay.
And see, there was a branch of Theosophical Society in Chennai still.
Right.
She saw these people. One of her followers is Leadbeater, and I read his book. Must be in our library. He's describing where they are living, this king and their house and everything. Maitreya is also living there. King Pratik is there. So they are not visible to ordinary people.
Right.
There are many people living. Hanuman is also there. Jambavan, I don't know. Vibhishan is also there. Right? Lord Ramchandra blessed Vibhishan to live till the end of this kalpa. There are other people. Vyas is also there. There are some other names. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, I have a question about the story of Shukadev,
Hmm.
as described in Brahma Bhagavatam, I think.
Hmm.
So it is described that he fell at Krishna's feet after all this and offered beautiful prayers. Right? But then it's also described that in the Bhagavatam, he's a Brahmavadi, he's Brahman realized. So before he hears the Bhagavatam, he has no conception of the person of God. So
No, Brahma, you don't know this. Brahmavadis, they understand that Krishna is the personification of Brahman.
Okay, so he has a conception. So that means the prayers which he offered were with the idea that this is
What he
personified
offered,
Brahman?
I don't know, but I cannot say unless I know the prayers. But
But it's possible that he even though he met Krishna.
it's like Kumaras are also offering prayers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I thought at that time they realized that Vishnu is beyond Brahman when they offered the prayers.
But they cannot offer prayers otherwise. Why are they going to see Vishnu?
Yeah, but then when they're smart at Tulsi, then they change.
Yeah, but can they offer prayers before that or not?
Yes.
So then what is your question?
No, my question is, I'm just wondering whether.
No, can a Brahmavadi offer prayers to Krishna or not? You think Brahmavadis do not accept Krishna? How do they become Brahmavadi? They have to worship Bhagavan to become Brahmavadi. Mam cha vyabhicharanya brahm bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samtietan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. How do you become Brahmavadi? You do bhakti to Krishna. So when you do bhakti to Krishna, you pray or not?
There could be still a difference because Krishna appeared in front of him personally. So the Kumaras, when they saw Vishnu in front of him and they smelled at Tulsi, then they had a change of. There was some change. So it could have been. I'm just wondering. It could have been that seeing Krishna in front of him it could have also changed his mind, but probably that wasn't the case.
No, there's no description, so I cannot say. Just by seeing does not mean there's so many people who saw Krishna that did not become devotee. It is by the grace of Krishna. So his birth is there for certain purpose. If he has to make it like this, then this purpose will be gone. He wanted that he comes and studies Bhagavatam and then teaches it.
I also have a question regarding Shukadev's story. So, when he was inside his mother's womb, then I would think that he was not completely free of Maya, because he's inside the body, and so is it just to tell us that there in this environment the influence of Maya was less, and therefore he was speaking like this, that he does not want to be overpowered by Maya?
So when he came out, then he became free from Maya, right?
Yes.
So why he cannot be free from Maya inside? And why is that he cannot be free from Maya inside the womb?
So when he came out, he was already free?
Well, inside the womb, what Maya will do, tell me. Maya means what? Attachment to things, right? What does Maya do? That you become attracted to wealth, power, position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Relations. If you are inside, then what Maya can do? What is that you will be attracted to? You don't see anything there. You are in this dark place.
I would just think that he has a body already.
Yeah, he has a body. Obviously, he is not liberated.
Okay, and he's also getting sensory input also through the belly and so on, huh?
Hmm.
Like sounds and a lot of things, and probably he has senses which have a natural liking for certain sounds already.
Yes.
He gets it
So where is more Maya, outside or inside?
outside, definitely.
So therefore he says, I'm safe here.
Mm.
That's what he means. He says, I'm meditating here. What influence sound will have if he says, I'm meditating on Bhagavan? That's what he's saying. That I'm inside and I'm meditating on Bhagavan, there is no disturbance here. If I come outside, then mother will say, oh, my son, and father will run behind me, and then I'll get implicated. So here there is no such thing. Even the parents cannot put him in Maya. Because parents are the first one to attract you. So that's what it means. But one who is saying this, how much Maya he will have? One who has this much knowledge, what Maya will do to him? It's just to make a point
Yes.
that Krishna is the master of Maya and no one else. And it is only by Krishna's grace that you can become free from Maya. So the stories are told to, now if you start analyzing, how can somebody remain inside for 12 years? How can somebody talk from inside? How can you talk if you are covered with this placenta? You cannot even breathe, right? Breathing starts only when you come out. And to talk you need air, right? The vocal cord will not function. So if you start analyzing, then there will be problem. Just get the point. Okay.
Babani, I had one more question. Like that was from yesterday, but then I think there was some connection issue. Yesterday, you had said that, like in Sanskrit, a sentence would convey only one meaning. and that is understood because of this vibhaktis and whatever these grammar rules.
Not in Sanskrit only, but every language. Why only in Sanskrit? In any
So even
language, one sentence gives one meaning.
Yeah, that is right. But even in Sanskrit, even if the words are put in different order, still it conveys the same because of this vibhakti and other grammar rules. So my question was that one sentence conveys one meaning, but then we also read the commentaries of acharyas, and they give Saleshartha, Atva, and all these different meanings also. So
Yeah, so just listen. I already explained this yesterday. When you make one statement, you make one meaning. If you want to get another meaning, you have to repeat that statement. Because once you have taken out one meaning, then it is over. This is what I was saying. So if you give 10 meaning to one sentence, you have to repeat that sentence 10 times.
Yeah, that point I understood, Babaji.
So therefore it is one sentence is giving only one meaning, and then you repeat that one sentence 10 times and get 10 meanings. So it is 10 sentences which look same to you, but they have a different meaning. Just like you say the word well in English. So well means somebody is well, and well also means from where you get water. So you can make a sentence in English which can have both meaning, but then you have to repeat the sentence. Okay, this sentence here means well, here I take this meaning, it is the meaning. Then you have to say it again, now I take this meaning, it gives another meaning. Because the person who is speaking, he is not crazy. When he says you one sentence, he means one thing. If he means 10 things to you, what will you understand? If I want you, I was giving an example that if I ask you, bring me a cup of water, then I have a specific meaning in my head and which I am trying to convey to you. But if I mean by water, I mean juice also, by water I mean milk also, by water I mean water also, then what would you understand and what would you bring? So obviously, if I mean water, then I conveying the meaning water by water. If I mean juice by the word water, then I am conveying that, and you should get that only. And if you don't get that, then it's my problem that I am not conveying it properly, or you are not understanding it properly. But you will get only one meaning.
Yes, Babaji, I understood this point. But another question which was coming into my mind was that, like our acharyas have given for that sentence has been interpreted in say 2 or 3 meanings or whatever, more than that. So the question is knowledge of Sanskrit important for interpreting, or is it the intelligence of the person who can interpret a sentence in different ways?
So both are needed. If you don't have knowledge of Sanskrit, you may be intelligent. How would you interpret? How would you interpret if you don't know Sanskrit?
Right. So both are required.
Of course. Can you give the mic now?
Just on this subject, what about the uses of a pun? For example, when someone says a pun, they don't say the sentence twice, but the person can grab 2 meanings in their head as they...
No, when he gets 2 meanings in the head, still he has to repeat that sentence himself twice to get the 2 meanings. Because once you get one meaning, then you are getting another meaning, you have to repeat that word again or not? Then only you will get it. So one time you take one meaning, that's what I was saying, that you have the word well, and it has double meaning. So you can construct a sentence. So if you take one meaning, then you take and then you want to take the other meaning, then you have to again repeat it. Whether you may not repeat it explicitly, but in your head, but you have to do that. So at one time you are only getting one meaning. That's what it means.
I was more like curiosity about these people who are living, all these great personalities who are living in Himalaya. So Himalaya is a region in this world, and but seems that they are not following the same restriction or law of this world. So
What is that law?
mean that they don't have a subtle body like we have. It's not a subtle body because it's a material body, also a subtle body. So in which kind of dimension is...
Well, just like here also there are so many living beings which you don't see. They also have body, but they don't have body like yours. Coronavirus can also be here, living. It's also have... So what do you mean they're not following the same law?
I mean that they don't have the same restrictions.
Yeah, obviously they don't have a body like us, so that's why I'm saying. Otherwise they will be visible. How would you live there? You heard of Mahavatar Babaji these days, so many people are talking about. He's also living there.
There are so many yogis and so many people.
So there are so many people living. Obviously that is the type of stories we hear. Like Sabri Muni made 50 bodies. So they are not bodies just like you think your body is. If he can make them, he can also close them.
So, because also this Madame Levinsky, she was talking about the astral body. So, I have no idea what it is.
You don't need to have an idea.
There is subtle, but there is not a very real subtle body. It's what I read online that.
Okay. So, who was it?
Hari Bhakta Das was asking some question. Hari Bhakta Das.
Hare Krishna, this is Krishna Bhakta Das. I had a question. If Shukadev Goswami, he called Krishna as a master of Maya, but Brahmavadis, I believe that that the gods are getting their shape by the influence of Maya. That's why they appear in this world, and the ultimate is dissolving, and then the Brahmavad, like the Brahman, is the most supreme. So how can he call him a master of Maya?
So where did you read that?
I didn't read. I didn't read it. It's just in Brahmavad. We've been explained by a lecture. I believe. I don't remember right now.
So you have heard it wrongly. That's not the Brahmavad. That's not, in fact, that's not even Mayavad. Even Advaitvadis don't believe like that. So the problem is that most of, especially Gaudiya Vaishnavas, somehow, and those who are coming from ISKCON, Gaudiya Math, they do not have proper understanding what is Advaitvad, Brahmavad or Mayavad, whatever you want to call it. They have some very wrong ideas about Mayavad. And I keep on getting these types of questions all the time. So you have to study Advaitvad properly, then you will understand what is their concept of God, what is their concept of creation, what do they mean by Brahman, what do they mean by Maya. Then it will make sense what is being described here. Otherwise, people like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur or Jiva Goswami, they are writing, you think they will not think like this, what you are saying, that how is this Sukadeva Goswami is a Brahmavadi and he is thinking Krishna is master of Maya, how can he think like this? So that's not like, it's not, Mayavadis also accept Bhagavad Gita. They also read Bhagavad Gita, they have commentaries, so many more commentaries on Bhagavad Gita than we have. We only have 2 commentaries. They have maybe 15 commentaries, beginning from Shankaracharya onwards. So they have a whole system of explanation, and there are 6 things which they have anadi. The Jiva is anadi. Ishvara, whom we are calling Bhagavan, Krishna, whatever, that is also anadi. Maya is anadi. Brahman is anadi. The distinction between Jiva and Ishvara is anadi. Conditioning of the Jiva is also anadi. These are anadi things. So there Krishna is not as you are thinking. Otherwise, how will they say, Krishna says, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. Ajopi Sannavya Atma Bhutanam Ishvarapi San. He says, I am Aja, I am Avya Atma. So they have to explain this verse. Krishna says, Bahuni me vatitani janmani tab charjana. Tanyaham ved sarvani natvam ved parantapa. Many births I have taken, you have taken, you don't know, I know. So don't think that Mayavadis don't accept these verses. And when Krishna says, I am unborn or Jan kam chame divyam, they also accept all this. Actually, if you understand, if you read Mayavadi, you will be completely thinking, what is this? This seems to make more sense than what we thought. So we have some misconceptions about Mayavad. And when I say we, means primarily Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And we keep on bashing that part of Mayavad, which Mayavadis will simply, they will laugh at you. If you tell them that, he says, what is this joke you are talking about? It's not an easy thing to understand Mayavad. So there Maya is anadi. There Jiva is anadi, there Ishvara is anadi. And Brahman, of course. And the creation cycles are going on. They have commentaries on Bhagavatam. And they can explain everything in their system. So Mayavadis are not as we are thinking, that they don't accept Krishna or they don't accept Ishvara or Krishna is just like this. As if he is just born and before that he was not there. They also accept avatar theory.
But this avatar theory, is Maya has anything to do with it, mixed with Brahman?
Yes. Yeah, it has. So there is Swashra Vimohini is called Avidya, and Swashra Avimohini is called Maya. They make 2 divisions of Maya. One is called Maya, another is called Avidya. Sometimes it is called Agyan and Avidya. So Maya is, like you can say, the superset. And inside Maya there is another division called Maya and another is called Avidya. Just like there is a New York state and there is a New York city inside the state. Okay? So like that there is a Maya, and inside Maya there is another Maya and there is another Avidya. 2 divisions of Maya called Maya and Avidya. So the definition of Maya is that it does not bewilder the person whom it is influencing or whom it is conditioning. So for them Krishna is also conditioned by Maya, but Maya does not condition Krishna as it conditions the Jiva. It does not bewilder him. Avimohini. Just as Maya bewilders the Jiva or avidya bewilders the jiva, Maya does not bewilder Krishna. Therefore Krishna remains Sarvagya, and yet his, whatever you say, conditioning of Maya. Jiva is also bewildered by Maya, which is the avidya part of Maya, but he does not know what is what. So Krishna knows everything. Because Krishna is Sarvagya for them also, as we say he is Sarvagya, and he can create and he has all these powers. So this theory, you have to know this. They will talk about Krishna as you talk about Krishna. And then you'll think, why we think that they are Mayavadis? So it's not as simple as we think. They'll be also praying to Krishna. As Malti was saying, why is he praying to Krishna? Well, the Sankaracharya has written, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudmate. Why is he saying it? If they don't believe in him at all.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say. The only thing I heard is from Srila Prabhupada's book that actually, in his commentaries, I can't recall exactly where, but he would say about Shankaracharya that he actually.
So if you want to say anything about Advaitvad, please do not quote any of these things. Quote the original scriptures or books of Advaitvad, because quoting these things is meaningless to me. It's like making up something which they don't accept, and then I have to answer it. So how can I answer it when your question itself is wrong? So if you want to ask anything based on Advaitvad, then you should refer to Advaitvad book. That this is what they are saying, and this is my doubt. But somebody who does not understand, and then you refer to him, and then what can I say?
I see your point, Babuji. I'll study some more and get more knowledgeable. Thank you for your answer. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.